What is going on, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and we're about to get ready for our live stream today. A look at the New York session. Obviously, there's a lot going on, as there is every day during this crisis. We're going to take a look in just a second. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. Good morning, Mima, Martine. Good to see you both. Hope you're all doing well. I'm watching, I think, precious metals right now. It looks like they're going to be taking a turn today. Tupek, John, Jesse, Heath, Blair. All right, let's get going. Obviously, the story of the day so far right now, obviously, is the funding issues. The LIBOR rate is spiking again, and you're just seeing the need for dollars. The system is obviously broken. The Fed is expected to inject another $500 billion today. No one's taking the money they're injecting. I, More or less, people are taking, more or less about 20 billion of the half billion being offered. They're trying to fix it, but it's obviously it's broken. This is a big move here into the dollar. You see it obviously playing out on the euro. Still holding my shorts. Even against the yen. Now, does this become a selling opportunity as we're up again towards these levels here on the yen? It may be. I want to today we're actually going to get into lots of the pairs. All right, because the market's been stretched. Received some nice charts on the pairs that I'm following yesterday, which I continue to look and wait on the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Both of those are just a couple of pairs I would like to add to my portfolio. So we're going to take a look at all of the cross pairs today just to get an idea of what's going on. S&P so far overnight was up, limit up, trading stop when it was up 5% off the lows, and then in the morning throughout London that retraced. It looks like about 2.5%, and has been jumpy as the market opens right now. Let's see, just the last 5 minutes. Let me show you. Look at these ranges. That's a 1% range. This enormous volatility continues. Mark, what's going on, man? Peter, good to see you. Sunset, what's going on? Gabriel, good morning. All right, let's kick it off with the euro Canadian dollar. All right, euro Canadian dollar. I was looking for a pullback and then a resumption here. I was looking actually and hoping that after the ECB met that we would get a spike down. That never really materialized. We came back down into this range, which just means to me that this continues to consolidate over these big gains to the upside and continues to push up positive. Now, I haven't even looked at the US dollar Canadian dollar this morning. Again, we're going to look at all cross pairs. Now we're up to 0.141, and we continue obviously to be uber bearish on the Canadian dollar. I definitely continue. I think it's more about positioning right now during this process, which looks like it's just getting started. Expect some volatile moves in both directions. However, I really think or at least that's the way I'm doing it. I'm building myself into positions, and I think that's the way to trade right now. I think throughout this mess, it looks to me that the euro is going to outperform the Canadian dollar. Right here, you have the euro having a pretty bad day versus the dollar. Nevertheless, holding up here, not so bad. I would look, if you're looking to trade this, definitely right now favoring the euro over the Canadian dollar. So what does that mean? Is a question of leaning into supports. Um, you know, is this look like it's set up right now in any way, shape, or form? Let's look at the 8 hour. Take a No, it's just consolidating. It's clearly just consolidating over here. It's stuck between this range of where this gap that came back down and filled, and then you have the high right around here, right? So wait for it to break above this high, wait for some momentum to reestablish itself to the upside, and then you know how to get into it once it does break out to the upside. Otherwise, you're looking to come down and buy off supports on the lower range. What's going on, Thomas? Dinkar, Aaron, Michael. Wow, we got a full house in here now this morning. Uh Mata, good morning, everyone. All right, we're gonna burn through what's going on over here. 1 second. Wow, the market moves are fast and furious right now. That's for sure. All right. So let's take a look at gold. Gold continues to have a lot of pressure on it. I look at this as an opportunity to pick up gold. We've said it before. I'm just going to reinforce it again really quickly. It is really important to own a certain percentage of your portfolio in physical gold. We're in a crisis right now. The fact remains, we we they're calling it a global recession this morning. We've already been talking about that. We knew that's where we were. Now the next thing, or the next concern, is obviously a depression. I did my research. I didn't know where they were taking this thing for the last couple of years. If it was going to be deflationary, a depression, or inflationary, hyperinflation, such as Venezuela. And actually, I think it's going to wind up possibly being a combination of them both. But first, it looks like this deflationary trajectory is picking up. And now the very real concern is a depression. Just owning a little bit of gold could actually save you and your family. That being said, on the paper market, it's a lot different. We're seeing this being deleveraged. It's actually harder to buy physical gold and even silver. You see mint sold out right now. Than in the past, and that was the same thing during the 2008 crisis. You all know what happened after the crisis, and I'm not saying we can't even see much further prices down on gold. I'm prepared, even I'm mentally prepared for even $1,100 gold. People, so people that I respect their opinion are calling for $850 gold. I don't see it. And I think this is a different type of crisis. That being said, DXY, we just looked at already this morning. We saw that was because of the LIBOR rate spiking, that this was trading back up towards, like, we're at 99.35 right now, back above this trend line over here, back above this big area of resistance, right? And he pulled back into this area of support here at 98.85. Anyone who's not on this side of the trade, they might consider. As I was saying, even during the height of the pain over here, that I was expecting us to be back up here and eventually break out to new highs. Euro, you could see the same exact thing. That area over here, it's holding over here on the euro. That's pretty interesting. It is now back above this area I have marked as support and trading back above it. My next, this is now resistance. I'm not trying to trade this. I'm simply holding these shorts. You got wrecked. Mad Mario. Good to see you all in here this morning. Euro continues to outperform the pound. Let's take a look here on the daily. Wow, we're getting up to some pretty high levels over up here. This is interesting only because you know, I do favor the pound over the euro in the long run. I think the euro's problems are just beginning, and I think over the next 18 months, and definitely starting much sooner than that, we're going to see more fraction coming within the euro. Um, I think ultimately the England getting out of there is gonna be really beneficial for the pound. Um, Look at this. Look how far, high, and hard we've come up. Almost 1,000 pips. This is beginning to look more than interesting. I thought it was interesting down here. 400 pips lower. So why there's nothing here at this moment, and there's other more exciting opportunities. And for me, exciting opportunities right now are risk off trades. For me, I don't have any. Again, I'm watching Australian dollar, Swiss franc, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. I'm not involved in those trades at this moment, but I would like to be, and I will continue to be watching for possibilities to get involved. Markets down after going, first of all, after going limit up yesterday, are now down here towards the lows. I believe that we're getting ready for a stimulus package coming out of the White House. I think they're asking for $850 billion. They're talking about, and notice, propaganda speak. Notice what they're talking about is in the headline of finally handing out money to the people, free money for the people. But what they're going to actually be doing is bailing out the airlines and or whatever other sectors they're doing. So it's just more double speak, you know. And not that they're not going to wind up handing out money to the people, directly into their bank accounts eventually. But that's not what's happening right now. And you have to read between the headlines. Really important. So S&P now and markets getting crushed now here towards getting close to taking out yesterday's lows. We'll watch what happens later when we get some headlines about a package being approved in the Senate later. Be watching for some type of turnaround, perhaps. Danielle, what's going on? Good morning, good afternoon, as it might be. Bitcoin holding up well today. Considering we're in this crisis, markets trading down, percent now, Bitcoin trading up, not too bad. Um, I think it's why of course I'm prepared that we could go down, even as uh, we could break to the 3,000, and I would not be surprised anymore at this point with this deleveraging event. However, bigger picture, Bitcoin is absolutely on sale right now. Let's keep it going. We already looked at the euro Canadian dollar this morning. Let's move over to the pound New Zealand dollar yen. This looks pretty cool coming down into the support area over here. This actually, it looks very cool. This might be something that throughout my adaptation of looking for and holding position trades throughout this developing crisis, this looks like an opportunity for a swing trade developing over here as we come down into this area of support here, pound New Zealand dollar. And this is definitely something that I'm just putting here at the top of my list. We'll come back later and look at, obviously there's no signal that could develop this trading session or within the next, probably 12 hours or whatever. But this looks interesting to me. I'm going to come back to that. Look at, why do I say, we watched this forever. I talked about once we broke down either way. I thought we would break up. I thought this was a bottoming, but we talked about whether we break to the up or down. This looked like to be the time to take it. I never expected this type of move, to be honest. And I often find that whether we all get in the trap of what we think is going to happen simply by following the setups as they occur just is so much easier, plain and simple. Wow, markets are uber volatile. It's hard to even keep up with them. That's why I paused for a second just to see what is happening. I took actually my first trade on the S&P in since last April or May. So not a year, about 11 months. After hours last night, I took a long. We hit limit up. Then it traded down again, and then that time I put in a take profit just pips below the next limit up. Uh, I got really lucky that wound up triggering overnight. So nice to get back into U.S. equities and nail the first one. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, between support and resistance, coming into this resistance over here. I don't like either one of these pairs, so I'm just going to stay far away. How do I unflag those? Just stay far away. US dollar. Oh, beautiful, beautiful US dollar on the move again, even versus the Swiss franc. And you no longer, no, in the past, and still you collect a swap here with the US rates at zero, but the Swiss franc negative. Nevertheless, this is no longer any type of, there are no more attractive carry trades with the US dollar. That's for sure. Funny how it turned. At the moment, the rates were quite near zero, but here we are. We looked at the past data. You have to go back to 2008. It's the closest thing to the crisis we're in right now. It's the best model you have to go off of. But the U.S. dollar outperforms the Swiss franc in this type of environment. Just seeing that getting started, I'm not interested. U.S. dollar, Japanese yen, and this is something uh, that I would like to get involved in here in putting out actually just a video giving an overview of what of a bigger idea trade and how we could look to manage it and get into it either which way. Right now we're in between this area of no man's land. I continue watch to the upside right now, even though I am very and I remain bullish in this environment towards the Japanese yen. I do wonder if it's possible, because of again, each crisis is unique. I wonder if it's possible that the U.S. dollar could outperform the Japanese yen and the Japanese yen outperform every other currency. I don't see why not. If we break to upside to the trend line, if we take out 109.71, you can see they converge right here, both of these. If we take out this area right over here to the upside, uh, I'm gonna, after this fake breakout over here, then check out to the downside. If we come back up to the upside, I'm gonna hold my breath and get long there. Nevertheless, I still want to get in, and I'm not involved in. I would like to get involved in some Japanese yen positions. Uh, Pound Canadian dollar, because I know that the pound New Zealand dollar looks interesting. Uh, Similar situation here. It's a little more jumpy or messy. Um, but if you ask me which is going to be higher, 1 month from now, I vote for the pound. I kind of prefer that pound New Zealand dollar trade that I marked up here, so I'm going to stick with that one. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. This is something that I'm interested in, and uh, not even close to a possible position right now. If we get back towards the top of this of that trend line over there, that's when I could start getting perhaps interested in. Aside from that, let's see. I have, if it broke outside that trend line, this is the area of resistance I can look to lean into. Nevertheless, I do believe that things are actually over the next couple of months going to get much worse, and I really would like to get into this trade myself, so I'm watching it. No, I don't want to hear that. Tesla down to 416. I heard Elon is keeping up his Alameda, California factory, even though the county is on lockdown from the coronavirus. I think there's 5 different counties surrounding San Francisco all on lockdown. The amount of people I've heard in the last 2 days that have contracted coronavirus and or are being quarantined because they've been with people who have received it and are sick is absolutely phenomenal. There's been a big outbreak in Vail, Colorado, because of they were holding the U.S. championships skiing and snowboarding, and you had people coming from all over Europe. Uh, this virus spreads much quickly than even I assumed or we were under the impression of. Everyone I know that came back from Vail, a bunch of them are actually tested positive. Others are quarantined. U.S. We looked at that again. This is Euro Swiss franc. I recommend completely avoiding this pair. Nothing else to say about there. A lot of people were jumping in long here, believing the central bank has their back. Swiss bank is notorious for backing off the peg, and when that does, disaster strikes. Even with the Swiss bank, intervening here, there was not much of a move to the upside. Just completely stay away. VIX over 80. That might be higher than in the 2008 crisis. That's insanity. Can you imagine for how long it was so low? Here we are now. The trade of 2020, and I don't know how many hundreds of percent it is up, but is absolutely long volatility. And Tesla, before we come back to the US dollar, all I can say is, although I wanted it, I couldn't take the trade because the only way I would take the trade was going to be with simple FX, and at the end of the day, I didn't trust them as a counterparty. Um, but beautiful to watch nevertheless. Like as far as anatomy of a trade, just a couple of things to mention because they're all on the live streams. When we spiked up here and then traded off, we said if where price is way down here, we said if it came back up here and tested up towards this area, that would be the area to get short. Then over here, you have another trend line over here. We don't have it drawn in. We have this steep one, right? You can see the break there. This one that we do have in over here, you could see how easy it is off the rejection of that to have gotten short. And now we've taken out this one. This thing looks like it's over. Put a fork in it. Where are we going to trade down? It looks like ultimately will be down below 200. I think we were on the euro, Australian dollar. Wow. Wow, it's a straight up like a rocket. So the only thing I can say about this chart, because there's not is not completely out of play for me, why I do think that the euro will continue outperforming the Australian dollar. Australian dollar obviously continues to be in trouble. Watch out if there's a second wave in China, which watch out for all of us. But this is just reinforcing this is the environment to be holding positions. Stop looking for your 10, 20, 30 pips. Some of you who are nailing swing trading were probably making the same mistakes I were making, just getting out of good trades too soon. So go ahead and just definitely just reprogram that brain right now in this environment, because this is not going away, and it will be the same thing to the upside or the reverse sides once we do come into a period in the markets where we're really putting this behind us. It's not even, going back to 2008 crisis again, going back to us buying, silver between 8 and 12. We're taking profits at 12, thinking we were heroes. That traded up to 50 within 18 months. This is a period and an environment where absolutely wealth could be either lost or gained. Let's make sure that we first navigate through this situation, as absolutely I definitely see occurring because of how we've been watching the markets. A lot of people have had themselves and their families prepared ahead of time. Let's continue doing that. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. This is also something I'm focused on, the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. I think I might split my risk between the two if I get the opportunity. Um, but right now, I'm not in a rush, and I'm just showing patience, and I will wait. But I am, or I do say that uh, what I'm going to ultimately wind up doing, I think, because I'm not sure which side of the hemisphere is going to get hit harder, right? I could imagine U.S. starts getting hit over the next couple of months. That even puts a lot more pressure on the Canadian economy, which is already in pretty bad shape. So this goes towards that ideal portfolio I'm looking for. Dollar just crushing everything in its way. Um, it's I was thinking this morning how the Fed had gone ahead and not only cut rates to zero, uh, hit their biggest bazooka of their history, and the dollar is basically teeing off on that the wrong way. So whether it's the U.S. Treasury, via the White House, I'm not sure what else really the Fed could do at this point. They're gonna, obviously do everything they can to come at the dollar, and we could see further knockbacks. But it looks like that Santiago Capital's milkshake theory, or even better, Jeff Snyder, who does a lot of podcasts on micro voices. It looks like his Eurodollar theory is absolutely coming to fruition, and we're all aware of it. We've all been aware of it. It makes sense. Pound is just getting toasted versus everything. I see the Japanese yen relatively weak today. Maybe not versus the Australian dollar, not versus the pound. New Zealand dollar mixed. That's strong. It's strong. I want to take a look at this on the daily time frame. Ugh, I'm such a fool because I was short all the way up here. I was only looking for, I think, a take profit down here towards the bottom of this. Anyway, just really poor trade management for this type of environment. I don't think this is ending anytime soon. Trying my best to get focused. You got wrecked. I'm all over and holding happily some really attractive, well priced Euro US dollar shorts. As I've been saying, I'm not looking to give them up. Right. I'm not even. I'm so well positioned, uh, and I'm just holding them, and I plan on holding them for a while. U.S. dollar. Thomas Hemphill. So is that you're holding the U.S. dollar, Swiss franc, and also long Swiss franc versus the Japanese yen? We got three pairs in there, so I'm a little. I'm not straight with you, but we haven't looked at the Swiss franc Japanese yen. Japanese yen, Swiss franc is weak today, huh? So I'm gonna revisit. Well, it's stronger than the Australian dollar, though. That's the pair that I'm looking to get in versus the Swiss franc. So it's not offering much help. Swiss franc, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. We'll come and look at that together in a moment. But this is a little difficult for me. This is two risk off pairs. It's been volatile in a big range, a 400 pip range, but they are. If you hey, the momentum's down today. That's all I could say. That's absolutely right, Jesse. That's absolutely right. And it's difficult. There's a lot of smart minds who are positioned on both sides of that trade. So and in the past 2 weeks, they both had a moment to gloat. We went to see the dollar at 99.50 and then back down to 95, all within a few days. But now we're back up there. Listen, as we've really talked about, it's a U.S. dollar based system, right? Um, I've talked about and pointed out before Jeff Snyder on Macro Voices, who's probably one of the few people who understand the Eurodollar system, even when he talks about it, and the hours and hours that I've listened to. I can't even understand it. I only know that I could, rely on and use his opinion. No, I mean, Hanero, I'm not sick at all. A little bit run down. Well, at least when I say I'm not sick, not that I know of at all. I don't have fever. Um, I don't I don't feel sick. So yeah, but definitely, prayer, please, anyone who please prayers for me always. And same thing, let's keep everyone in our prayers. But I sincerely hope not. But I don't feel sick. Pit machine, the Pound Slayer. Um, Thomas, I'm not clear on this though. You got U.S. dollar, Swiss franc. Oh, you're long all of these. Oh, boom. That is the portfolio for these times. Um, what are we right? Plus 1,000? No, plus 1 million. Drop the mic, go home. Thomas has it nailed. For real, right? Wow. So also, I I picked up silver this morning at $12. What did I pick it up? $12.36 with a stop loss in at $12.05. And the, I'm gonna hold it. We'll see. Seems attractive down here at the same time, like gold. I wouldn't be surprised if it fell off. It looked to me like this morning, first thing I said on the live stream, it looks like precious metals are going to have their day today. We'll see. I don't. I kind of have the mindset and believe anything could happen in these moments, but definitely happier and happier with portfolio. And why there's a first swing trade that I have in mind here on the pound New Zealand dollar. I've kind of switched over the last week into building a portfolio, which I'm really happy with, um, rather than swing trading. But now that that's all set and established, although and I still have things I want to add, but I could look back over to swing trading. It's about positioning. It's about positioning right now. Love to hear that, Hanero. Good job, buddy. There were some other things that we wanted to look at, and one of those, I see that the New Zealand dollar is stronger than the Swiss franc today. There's a channel over here that we're the same thing play on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, only that's at the bottom, and this is coming back towards the top here of this channel right now. So that's not drawn in to perfection, but it gives you the idea. That's all I need to do right now. We'll see we're towards the top of the channel, and then like I said, the same thing as on the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, that's the area of resistance. If we break just to the upside, then I want to look to lean in over here. Similarly, even though that price is so low, and I normally don't come chase after price, I'm waiting for some sharp pullbacks in risk on and risk off to kind of grab some pairs that I want to. Nevertheless, I don't know that that's going to happen. So I am willing and ready, if this turns off of this trend line over here, to jump in and just keep my stop tight on that as a swing trade, take a swing trade. And then if it turns into a position trade, that's fine, because I would like to be positioned short both of these. And the New Zealand dollar is showing a retrace day. Swiss franc is definitely weak across the board today. I would like to look in more into that and to see if I can find out any particular fundamental reasons why that might be the case. Yeah, probably you got wrecked. Probably they're just making up stuff now. Fed to reinstate commercial paper funding facility. So I have no idea what that means either. And so I don't know what that means. Why I don't know what it means is I don't know what it means. I think it has to do with the credit markets, though. Corporate credit markets is what I'm thinking, and why I have no idea. That is what is set to blow up again. Throughout all of this, we know people and funds are in trouble. We know that last week's and Sunday's Fed and intervention was to prevent that or bail out some funds, Citadel. But we haven't seen anything big blow up, and it's coming. Nice. Dwala, I am with you. Australian dollar, Swiss franc also is not showing the retrace that the New Zealand dollar is. So I would like to be short this, but there's no I'm not short it right now. And this was probably my worst trade of the year, because I got short over here on the breakdown over here and took profits down here. I thought, wow, what a good trade. Wow, what a good trade I made. I should still be holding this short. I should not be looking to give this up for still a couple of months. But I would like to get back short here on the Australian dollar, Swiss franc. Again, Thomas called it out. Long US dollar, long Swiss franc, long Japanese yen. And that is the environment we are in. And he's all over it, right? I'm looking Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar to be short versus Swiss franc and Japanese yen. And again, I got short all of them at probably the most opportune time and got out way too soon. So now I'm waiting. I'll see what happens. But down here, and I'm not going to take a short down here. I don't even see any type of setup or anything like that. So just wait it out. Um, so why I don't know. Oh, did you say oh 07? Yeah, right. I'm hoping we go lower than this. I'm hoping we take this out if we come down and test it again. Um, so obviously, I'm definitely under the opinion and mindset in this type of uh, environment as we are in a crisis that a lot could happen that I didn't expect, and that happened ever since Bitcoin got completely trashed, right? I never expected Bitcoin to break down towards those lows. Um, Everything's open for me right now, and you know, as I wouldn't be surprised if we came up here, and I would be surprised. I don't think that's going to happen, obviously. Otherwise, I'd be looking to get out of these trades. But um, you know, I think that I think it's safe. I think I'm looking closer in the intermediate future to see the Euro US dollar trade down to 1.04, 1.045 area. That looks like a pretty interesting target for me. And I think ultimately we're looking, much lower. Let's see what happens in Europe. But I think, well, 80 cents seems to be like the ultimate goal. So I also don't know that we'll ever see up here again. I just don't know. I just want to hold those trades. And of course, it's never easy. Today's a lot easier. Yesterday was harder with this big, retrace. Um, so I don't know, Thomas. I do think that we're coming down to here. That's where my eyes are next. And right now, uh, but hey, that's not nothing's clear. So Danielle, I used to strongly believe for a long time that it's best to focus in on one pair. For a long time, for me, that was the Euro US dollar or two. And for years, I thought this because it's the way that I traded the futures markets. I no longer believe that. There's a video in the course that talks about what the ideal amount of pairs to trade is, and I do believe that it is, uh, you know, the best way to approach the markets, the foreign exchange markets, is, and this is coming from a swing trader's perspective, which I also believe is the best way to trade the foreign exchange markets. If you're a day trader, go to the best environment and trade the E-minis because that's the best market for day trading. Um, if you are, I believe it's to focus on 15, 20 pairs, and out of those, narrow it down to the best 3 or 4 setups, and then out of those 3 or 4 setups, narrow it down. I think it takes about 20 minutes to go through. To really go through 15, 20 pairs, and then maybe another 10 to focus in at which are those the best, which one offering setups. Remember, setups do come in waves. It's that surfing analogy when a surfer is waiting for a set of waves to come in because they come in groups. That's how setups come in the markets, and then it's up to you to, out of that group of that set of waves coming in, to find and discern which setup you believe is the most promising. The way we do that is by seeing, which currency at that moment is coming into the strongest support or the strongest resistance, which currencies are showing relative strength and or weakness, and playing strength versus weaknesses. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, Martin. kind of uh, again, we have this channel over here that we're seeing also on the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. Over here, I didn't realize that we traded towards the top of that channel earlier today. We've already retraced off of it. This is my fear. I'm looking for a I'm looking for a retrace that might not happen. And at the same time, it goes against everything that I do in following that momentum. So it makes it I want to be short this pair. I should not have given up my short over down here. And at this moment, I can't get short. So I have to just wait. If you see something, Martine, highly respect your analysis. Please let me know. Uh, I'm looking for later today. I know that Muchin is meeting with Senate leaders, and it seems to me from being able to read that propaganda, it seems to me that they're going to get something passed this time, and I do believe this could be, or I do believe what I'm watching out for is that this could potentially be the rally back up into around this area, somewhere over here, somewhere between 2800 and perhaps higher to 2900. And because I mean, I do think we might rally and could rally that hard. And I think that this area over here, watch how price reacts, because if it turns off, that could be the highest we see on the indexes for a long, long, long time. So what would happen in this type of environment? Will we also see some of these risk off trades also retrace? If the White House comes out with a big move here, it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that we get some type of retrace in risk off. Again, I might be looking for a move that never happens. I'm well aware that that retrace might never happen, but I believe that today's events, a package passed by the White House, could be that catalyst. You get a bailout of certain industries, and a $850 billion stimulus to the economy. That could be what kicks off a little bit of a rally. So that's what I'm watching for in the markets. Thank you, Mark. Excellent, excellent, excellent advice. 1,000 milligrams. What? Where did you get that done, Hanero? I want that. I've heard even from people with cancer that a UV, a vitamin C, straight to the vein, as you're talking about, Hanero, is one of the most effective ways of fighting it. Wow, I would love to. I'm so jealous of all of you. I would love to get that. on. I'm with you here. I'm here with you all. Just give me a second, please. And then I'll pull up. I will pull up the FTSE. I'm not familiar with it at all, but we'll take a look at the charts and see if anything that could help you out there. Sorry, I wanted to. I had written out that answer um, for my father-in-law, so I wanted to share it with you, but technical difficulties. There we go. Amen. Dinkar before, and we'll take a look at it. But I agree with you. That's what I've seen happening with the DAX. I think the U.S. equities are the driver right now. That whole banning short selling has really worked out in China. Finally, this is my answer, Blair, and that is what I consider to be quote unquote conservative, as it would be for someone in their mid 60s. However, even though it quote unquote conservative is probably the most effective as well. All right, Dinkar, let's check it out. Thank you for your patience on that one. So, no, I guess I'm looking at the wrong index. Could you give me the ticker for that, Dinkar? And I'm under the impression that Italy is banning short selling. Who else? Germany. I'm not sure about that. Another country in Europe, both talking about banning short selling of stocks. I don't know how that will affect their markets. Obviously, if you can't sell, if you can't sell short, I believe they could still take out funds for redemption. It kind of puts a lot less pressure on the indices. But I don't think I'm looking at right the right ticker here, nor am I familiar with it. All right. So we do have the S&P turning around here this morning. Again, that area between 28 and 29. Let's see what happens over the next couple of days. If we get a little bit of a bounce over here, if I would love to have a chart of 1929 overlaid with the current equity markets, because they match up pretty. This drop is a little bit steeper, but to the same level. They mirror each other pretty well. So I would love to have that. Is there anything else that we're missing? I love me my trend lines. It didn't work out. US dollar, Japanese yen. UKX. It well, I do want to get a bigger perspective, but pretty much exactly as you said. It's almost the correlation is so tight that this is almost a mirror image. So it's exactly as you said. Yeah, I guess I don't have any firsthand insight into that, Thomas, but for sure, red states are definitely oil preppers in the U.S. It goes up there with food and medicine is ammo. So there's no question about that. I don't have first hand knowledge of that being the case. Your friend is 100% correct, and I don't think that is necessarily they're preparing for mayhem as much as they're prepared. So until someone brings up something they would like to look at and or discuss, and I'm gonna leave us here hanging out for a little while. See what else develops this morning. See how our conversation develops. And I'm happy to look up and pull up anything at the moment, but at the same time, I am going to give, as Hanera pointed out, my voice a rest. San Francisco and the 5 surrounding counties. I'm not in San Francisco right now. Right now, I'm in Mexico. But all my friends are. So, Sunset, I got the fall of Bitcoin has obviously been a little tough for me in that I trade my foreign exchange counts in Bitcoin. So these past weeks have been demoralizing to say the least. But my conviction on Bitcoin has not changed at all. Um, yeah, we could do that, Hanero. I believe. I don't know. I have in order to do the live streams on Zoom, I have a certain subscription on Zoom. I'm not outside of doing live streams though. I used to do meetings with my team on Zoom. That was a live video. But yeah, we have it. We could do something like that. But I prefer to experiment, not why on the live stream to figure it all out. Backing up 1 second, what was it? Oh, Bitcoin. So Sunset got hurt for sure. Nevertheless, you know, I view this as its 4-year cycles. Of course, this deleveraging event affected Bitcoin. You could see things changing now, whereas even in this morning, Bitcoin was up 3%, while U.S. equities were down. Gold is down, Bitcoin's up. You know, that correlation last week was so strong in the height of the crisis. And is the crisis over? No, I think obviously it's just getting started. So could we see again, we spoke about this morning, you know, gold trading at 1100, 1200, like I'm prepared for it. I wouldn't be surprised. And at that point, I would I would move dollars into gold if I had that opportunity. Now I am starting to become actually a little even worried about the banks, and there are places that I might prefer to have my dollars than outside of the U.S. banking system, even if that means why I do expect. If you guys look at that link I provided about the best portfolio for someone who's not involved in the markets, right? Which are most people, like our friends and family, you know, how they should be positioned throughout all of this, because they are like, how do I position myself today so that I'm thriving 6 months from now, I'm thriving 1 year from now, and 2 years from now, I have actually, you know, uh, actually not only protected myself but thrived during this current situation. That's what that portfolio does. Bitcoin's definitely a piece of that. Bitcoin is going, gold and Bitcoin are the next phase of all of this. Bitcoin is going to outperform. It's not even close how much it outperforms everything else. So you know, where I'm looking at Bitcoin fair priced, you know, in December of 21 at $110,000, which yes, I do believe it'll be there. I know I believe it'll be much higher because markets overshoot to the upside and downside. We're seeing the markets overshoot to the downside. Is this a time to average in and buy? Bitcoin 5,000 is highly attractive. Do I think that we could trade down to Bitcoin? Do I think we'll take out 3,600 again, 3,800? I don't think so, but it's entirely possible. Not only possible, there's a certain degree of probability that it could happen. Now, if that happens and we break below 3,000, we're trading around, you know, around 2,850, 2,800. That's when, just as if gold goes down to 1112, dollars are going in there. Same thing with Bitcoin. At that point, I would basically be all in. Bitcoin's not going to zero. Bitcoin at the end of this crisis, I believe, is going to thrive. Is that 100%? Not even close. Nothing's 100%. That is how I am speculating, right? So I'm in it. And I've always been in all this to build generational wealth. I have made and lost millions of dollars trading. I am not looking to you know, to only make a living. I'm looking here again to make generational wealth. Oh, probably included in that bailout of the airlines is going to be the shale companies as well. That's a good point. And or Sunset, if you have any specific questions or something that regarding Bitcoin, that if you want to talk, just send me an email. Yeah, at this point in era, I wouldn't be surprised now that we're back below, 5,800, 6,000. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin traded lower from this point either. I'm prepared for it now, psychologically. Same thing with gold. Machu Picchu, huh, Blair? My little brother got to climb it. He said it was absolutely. I don't think he used the word magical, but I know that it was magical. I'm gonna check the headlines over here, see if they're talking anything about what's going on. Um, as far as Muchin in the Senate, which is supposed to meet around lunchtime today. Hey, Thomas, beautiful. So Bob and or anyone else and Sunset, there's a video on the channel about trading Bitcoin. 12-hour time frame is my preference for it, using the True Trend BTC. Where are my indicators? And I prefer you watch the video. But by doing this, you'll keep yourself on the right side of the trend. Now, I didn't get short here on Bitcoin, and first of all, I mean, well, I didn't expect the sell off on Bitcoin to the extent of the crisis, and because I am so focused in on that 4-year cycle, we were already trading down 30% off of the highs coming into the halving. On different outside of the coronavirus crisis, things would have turned out differently. Nevertheless, watch the video. Go to the Bitcoin playlist. Look for the simple beginner strategy. It's not a beginner strategy. It's entirely simple. So basically, you just get long Bitcoin anytime this turns positive. and get out of Bitcoin and or sell it anytime it turns negative. And the amount of it'll just throughout all the halving cycles, throughout all of the bull market phases and bear market phases of Bitcoin, it will have you on the right side of and just you could just pull up the true trend BTC, put it on 12-hour Bitcoin, and then do yourself go back and see, go back over the last 4 years, 5 years, and you will accumulate an enormous amount of Bitcoin and only having to make several trades at most a year, and do this for the next 10 years, and there's no way that you will make more money in the markets. It is probably the easiest and safest way to approach it all. And you will probably, if you were to do that, well, I can't imagine a better retirement plan. I trade Bitcoin with multiple brokers and exchanges. But as far as in foreign exchange with FX choice, there's if you scroll down below, you see I use FX choice as my broker to trade currencies in Bitcoin. And then there's a link to open up a demo, a live account, and I do my all of my FX through with Bitcoin through FX choice. And I also use other exchanges for Bitcoin. Sheriff, what's up? Wow, Colorado is absolutely gorgeous, though, Thomas. I mean, not that Puerto Vallarta is not. That's beautiful. Yeah. So not in trending markets, one of the best ways to approach it is pull up our normal true trend. Right? Here's the latest example. And there's the video. If you haven't watched it, just go to popular videos, look for the video on true trend, trading with the trend, which gives an explanation into the trend indicator. But obviously this morning, the euro, the US dollar was trending strongly down 1.7%. And in a strongly trending market, you could simply just wait for the entry CCI to pull up against the trend, and then look for the resumption down, price take you back into the trade. And that is simple and easy. It doesn't matter what time frame you traded on. It doesn't matter what time frame you traded on. It works. Same technique, same everything on all time frames. Nice, Bob. That's I don't know how you got that insight. Unless you're a member of the trading group. But yes, that is what foreign exchange is for. A lot of people get into foreign exchange initially looking to be able to trade for a living and make an income, rather than using their own existing source of income and then learning how to just compound over time. And then that's how you truly grow your money and your wealth. You're gonna get there, Hanero. 100 million%. I believe in you, buddy. Gray London. I think I want to be on the same page as you. I'm not familiar with Gray London. First thing I said this morning, it looks like it was going to be a day for precious metals. It looks like they're making their turn. Gold now turned green. Silver way off its lows. Now, not a bottom picker, but it was time. Oh, yes, for sure. For sure. Amsterdam's the same. Netherlands. Also, I lived in the Northwest for a year in Oregon, and for 5 months straight, I didn't see the sun, and I had to go before sunlamp one morning. I just had zero energy. Vitamin D is so important, and I know that Hanero and Blair were talking about the importance of vitamin C, and along with that vitamin D, my kids never get sick. All the kids in the schools that age get so sick they're walking germ pools. My wife gives them vitamin C and vitamin D every day, vitamin B12, and the kids have not gotten sick in a long time. Things are obviously happening much quicker. Look at this moves, by the way, on the dollar from 99.85 down to 94.72 and then back up to 99.66, all within a month. I do, Hanero. Brother, please get on your plane, get on your Gulfstream. Please hook a brother up. I would love to get an IV in here. Um, my throat yesterday all day was dry. Now we're in Mexico City, and things are obviously, the air quality here is absolutely horrendous. We'll be leaving this weekend, go to a different area of Mexico, get away for a few weeks, and try to keep the family and kids as safe as possible. So I don't know. You're 100% right. This morning when you asked me, "Hey, you okay?" I noticed it in your voice. I've been feeling my throat dry since yesterday. Yeah. And I was supposed to be, what's today? Because I was supposed to be heading back to San Francisco next Wednesday. Uh, Obviously that was canceled. But yeah, I didn't expect, honestly, things to get that bad that quickly in the Bay Area. And thankfully the airlines were so good in obviously in canceling and processing refunds. So they're hurting right now. Let's see if they could be getting a bailout within the next 24 48 hours, I assume. euro continues to be pressure. The dollar is rising here. The US dollar, Japanese yen becomes interesting up at these levels over here, right? Um, and I am not convinced one way or the other who's going to win between the US dollar or the Japanese yen. Right now, I remain, obviously below my levels, below the trend line. They're both actually converging at the same exact price point, that 109.71 level right now. Um, and but below that, I'm bearish, and I am bearish right now. I don't have a position, and again, I would prefer to get short versus some commodity currencies, but that might change. This might become an opportunity, and as well as because over here, up in this area that we peaked in just 2 days ago, retraced and not coming back into. Over here, this is an attractive area to short, only because I know where I'm wrong really quick, and then over here also, I do want to get long. So Martin, and this is something that I want to do as like a whole thought experiment for myself. So I would like to put it, it's hard now. The kids are home, obviously, quarantined. Um, I would like to keep it easy, because things are happening so quickly. We get above 109.71 and we break out versus this trend line again, like I did over here. I am going to get long again. Uh, at the same time, I'm prepared for the yen to actually be that safe haven. I'm prepared for the yen to, and it breaks down over here. This support line we have over here that did hold over here breaks down over here. We're looking at like, you know, call it $80, $70 yen. 95 would obviously be the first level, around $90 maximum. I think the Bank of Japan would intervene. Uh, but how effective intervention is becoming from central banks, as you've all seen this week, is becoming less and less effective. So this becomes wild right now, because, and again, Raul started this conversation. Kyle Bass started this conversation 5 years ago. And actually, he was talking about, I don't know if he's talking about 150 or $200 yen. And Raul picked it up and was saying within 2 years he believes we're going to see $150 yen. And but the thing is before, why everyone seems to agree on that, even those that believe we can be seeing $70 yen sooner, that within 2 years we should see $150 yen. We're coming into this is 5 years. We're coming to now the area where it gets interesting. So which way it's going to break, I don't have that type of insight and analysis to be able to tell you, but I am good enough on the charts to be able to get a hold of it and stick with it. This is normally you'd be waiting a little further for this breakout to occur, which could mean even more than a year. But we're in extraordinary times right now. Um, it's something that I'm interested in, to seeing if I can get a hold of it. Nice, Alex. Nice trading. Excellent trading. Jesse, also Ohio did the same thing. Big fan, matter of the Calgary Flames. Theo Fleury back in the day. Yeah, the car. Well, at least that was the case in China when they banned short selling. If people were taking money out of funds, if they were doing fund redemptions, they were allowed to exit positions in order to honor those redemptions. I have not heard what's going to happen in Italy and or the other places in Italy that are looking to ban short selling, but I do believe that will be the exact same case, that they could sell positions for redemptions. Joshua, wow, Canada representing. I would love to know Canada. I would love to know what. But has anyone been to Banff National Park? I would love. It would be an absolute dream to take the family there as the kids got older and go visit. Canada must be one of the most beautiful, beautiful countries in the whole world. Especially, I think Banff is, from what I understand, the most beautiful. But when you get back out into British Columbia, those mountains up there, oh my goodness, what a beautiful country. Wow. Yes, here comes stimulus all from everywhere. Um, I'm waiting for headlines on what's happening today of the White House, but I see that the U.S. indices are now trading at the high since, call it, between 9 and 9:30 this morning. Gold and silver really off their lows now. Oh no! Oh no! Who was Wayne Gretzky's wingman back on the old Oilers? Can't remember. Curry. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, Messier played on that squad. I believe Blair. He was a center on the second line. But yeah, what's his name? Curry, Yari Curry, right? Was this guy like a 40 goal scorer a season? Definitely when Gretzky's on your line, that will do it. Vix is halted. I know it's even possible. Yari Curry. And then we had Messier, become the captain of the New York Rangers, taking them, I believe, to win the cup. But man, I grew up on Long Island. Imagine having to be a New York Islander fan these past 40 years. Oh, I love it. Every once in a while, sometimes on Twitter, you see a video of someone out in the middle of nowhere in Canada on the most beautiful lake in the world. Ice is completely light blue, mountains in the background, and they're out there with a stick and a puck. And man, what a dream. Excellent, Ternero. I'm so happy when countries are go ahead and taking these type of actions ahead of the curve. The U.S. was obviously behind the curve. Seeing countries act ahead of time is really so important. Thomas, I passed through Messi's hometown of Rosario a few times. I lived in Argentina for 8 months. Yes, Gabriel Gillies. Um, Bob, if you're still with us here, anyway, by the way, Bob P. Um, definitely appreciate the the comments that you shared, because when I know that I'm reaching people like that and the important stuff's getting through, is really fulfilling for me. Honestly, like true happiness comes from really having effect and building up those around you. So I just want to take a moment and thank you for that, Bob. It really means a lot to me. Take a second break. One of my girls is going absolutely bonkers.
Treasury bond market of all markets last week, which says those weren't even liquid. And so people were selling whatever was liquid and whatever hadn't been nailed down yet. And when you see gold go down, I learned this from watching the 2008 financial crisis. Gold also plunged in 2008. A lot of people would have said, "Oh, that's not a safe haven asset because it plunged." Well, oftentimes the safe haven assets are the first ones that are actually sold, precisely because
curve on the coronavirus.
They aren't somebody else's IOU, and they're not tied up in some of these crazy, leveraged financial structures always. The leverage has definitely got an impact on them, right? We can talk about the gold ETFs or talk about all the leverage in the Bitcoin market. But at the bottom, those assets are nobody's IOU. They are assets that if you own the real thing, if you own the physical gold or you own your private keys for your crypto assets, they're yours. You have outright title to those assets. They're nobody's IOUs. And so oftentimes because of that, those assets are the first ones that get sold. And we certainly saw that in 2008. We certainly saw that last week. We saw a huge correction in Bitcoin, a much lower correction in gold, but gold didn't exactly act like a supposed safe haven either. Now, all that said, I don't think that 1 week matters for either one of those assets. And in fact, actually, we just flushed out a lot of the leverage, I think, in the crypto market. I wouldn't be shocked if some of the crypto financial institutions didn't survive last week and we just don't know it yet. And by the way, good riddance. The amount of speculative leverage that was taking place on an asset that shouldn't be leveraged has been staggering. And the faster we can clear out that cruft from the market, the better off the market is. I think those safe haven assets are true safe havens, but that doesn't mean they're going to be safe havens every day. And like I said, they were the easiest things to sell last week. When you see gold go down, it means that we're really having serious liquidations.
Yeah, and I think what you alluded to in 2008, I wrote this piece this past week that a lot of people don't know. In 2008, kind of the mid 6 month liquidity crisis period, kind of over the summer, gold actually went down 30% during that time period. But if you then zoom out to the entire crisis, kind of end of 2006 to end of 2011, it was up 3x. So in those shorter time frames where there is that liquidity crisis, you draw down pretty substantially for the quote unquote safe haven asset. If you look at treasuries, for example, they're seizing, the markets are seizing up. Again, that doesn't mean that it's not a safe haven type asset or not something that people want to get. I think Bitcoin, same thing, right? You see this massive volatility. The other thing that people have to understand is the market cap of an asset like Bitcoin. It plays into this. It's a smaller market cap. It's going to be much more volatile. But the one data point I saw, this was Hunter Horsley from Bitwise was tweeting this. I thought it was really interesting. If you look at the historical volatility of Bitcoin and let's say the S&P, going down 9.5% on a relative basis is the equivalent of Bitcoin going down 51%. And so what you saw last week was the S&P went down 9.5%. Went down 50%. So on a relative volatility basis, they actually were just as volatile as each one of them, which I thought was super interesting. Now that leads us to, we get the liquidity crisis. Every asset trends towards one on the correlation. They all go down.
Kathleen Long on the Palm podcast. I don't think I can send the link for it. I'm sending you the link. Yep. If you, I guess that link will do to find the off-chain podcast. But if you're looking probably for yesterday's episode, it's Kathleen Long. She is comes from a huge Wall Street background. She's explaining what is going on right now. I'm listening to it. Hanero, thank you. And definitely thanks again for the reminder and tip on the vitamin C. Nice trading today. Talk to you tomorrow. Beautiful. God bless you too, my brother. I think that's it for me too today. And what? Oh wow, Bob, great. I didn't know you just discovered us. But hey, listen. I love the fact that it is a small group. YouTube does not really send out these videos. They get very few views. We have a tight group of community here. I feel blessed because of it. We're all generally on the same page and all able to add value. That's what a group and community is. And every once in a while, just little by little, different foundational pieces are added to that, and we're really grateful for that. So I'm glad you stumbled across us, and grateful for all of you. This has been really just navigating this situation with all of you. How far ahead of it we've been is really is really, you guys are great. Each day goes on. Definitely feel for more and more united and tied with you all. And as here you go, Jesse. Peace and stay safe. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Stay safe. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.